Obligatory your mom reference.
Obligatory, you're going to start the podcast in 3, 2, 1.
I'm actually not yet.
Well, shit.
You didn't ask me if I was ready.
It doesn't matter if you're ready.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 183 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny, interview guests, and talk about our love of the game. Well, we are here today. Like I said, episode 183. How's everyone doing tonight?
Magical with a cough. Des, how are you doing?
Hanging in there. Doing all right.
Love to hear it. And I feel like I want to continue eating my dinner during recording, but is that the best podcast etiquette? I don't know. Find out to see what I do.
Find out next time.
Stay tuned.
Find out tonight. Stay tuned. Well, let's start with, before I forget, we've had a review recently. We haven't had too many reviews on the podcast.
Uh-oh.
What? What's the uh-oh?
First review in a while. That's an uh-oh.
Or it's an oh boy. Might be a little more appropriate response, but yeah, we have a great review from Frenzy8. And
Awesome.
assuming he wrote, definitely love the show. Lots of info. And after joining the community, got to play with both Sen and Kingsley. Both are great Sherpas and welcoming personalities. Definitely recommend the show. Well, thank you, Frenzy8.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And, by the way, 5 stars. But like we said, even if you don't rate it 5 stars, we will read it on the air.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, we will. I almost want to say, try it, but I don't want a lower review, but...
Yeah, don't try it.
Seriously. Try it on another podcast and see if they read it.
Yeah, we'll start there.
And then
That
report
sounds
back
legit.
to us with 5 stars. No, you don't want to rate another podcast lower, but I'm just saying, I don't know what I'm saying. Rate everyone 5 stars. That's good to me.
Moving on.
Moving on, right? I mean, maybe you can rate a podcast that's not about Destiny and is not going on anymore. Feel free and rate them less than 5 stars. You have my permission there.
Do it.
All right. Well, what have we been doing in the game or other games? Anything about Destiny? Talk now. I want to take another bite of burrito.
Rating. Lots of rating. I've definitely run all 3 characters this week in a attempt to get Touch of Malice, and it still eludes me. And then shrimping a couple people through. And forgive me because I don't remember all of them, but we just did Mia and Dunder earlier today, which was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I did do the story mission and actually catch up on listening to all that junk at... those like little voice messages you hear from Ido. I finally caught up on those today. I missed a few somewhere along the lines, and in the effort to catch up on some of my triumphs and stuff that's been lingering, I did listen to all of them.
Right on.
That's about it.
And then we did another, so we had that one raid today, and then there was another quote Sherpa raid last night, as when we're recording this Wednesday night, where we got a first clear for Flip Mode Fro. And
Nice.
Larry's back too.
Nice.
So shout out to them and Sin
It's also good
for
to see
helping.
them back.
Yeah, good to see him back.
Yeah, shout out for trying to explain it when you're sick.
So that seasonal story, yes, is kind of concluded, paused, ended this week, at least as far as what we see with the lore pages, the seasonal triumphs, and everything like that. It is done. It's kind of cool how they did it this time. I really have to say I like how it flowed overall, and we even had a action animated cutscene of some fighting with swords. Go figure.
And Mr. X not following through.
But talk about who was fighting, Sin. Do you already know this, Des?
I'm a little behind on that, so
Yeah.
it will be a surprise to me.
Yeah, I think it was a surprise anyways, because I don't know if it was mentioned in any of the word or lore pages or stuff that you can kind of look up ahead of time. But I don't remember this cutscene being leaked ahead of time, so it was in essence a surprise. But it was Mithrax and Aramis fighting a sword duel because Ido was, from what we understood, stuck in, we have these pirate, they're not lost sectors, but, they kind of repurpose lost sectors, but little mini missions.
Yeah.
And she was stuck behind a door, but we didn't know that first. And just the word was that she was going to get that last relic. Lucent Brood was going to kill her or Aramis. Yeah. So, of course, we're there to save the day. And then we kill the Lucent Brood in the activity mission. But then, of course, behind the door is Aramis. And then Mithrax shows up, and it's one of those dun dun dun, like, get away. And then, like, they start a big fight. And then, of course, the whole thing all along was Aramis was trying to save Ido for multiple reasons. I mean, Ido was trying to get the last relic, and Aramis basically says, you don't know what you did. She could have had so much, I don't know if she used the word power or, do you remember what word was used, Sin? I almost want to say it wasn't the word power, but it was something synonymous to that.
I want to say she could have had it all. I thought
She could have had it all, yeah. And basically, like, I wasn't trying to kill Ido. But, and then, and Aramis actually got the one up on Mithrax at one point. He was on the floor. Aramis had, like, the sword, like, I can kill you right now. But then that typical trope where, like, but I was just actually trying to help Ido. Okay, I'm out. And then she does, like, this cool move where she jumps off the side of the, we're on, like, basically a meteorite or, all that rocky stuff. And then, of course, her cat ship is, like, conveniently going underneath. She jumps just on top of it and gets out in time, so. But it was a cool action animated scene. I liked it. I'm sure it's somewhere to be found.
Sounds awesome.
And then
interesting.
So she pieces out, and then, but of course, it's like, okay, so it was kind of, in a way, a little bit more of an ending, but still not something where it's like, it wouldn't make sense that we're still not doing catch crash activities and expedition activities, for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Probably as best as they could do for that. Okay, so seasonal story done. But hey, we're coming up to Festival of the Lost. We don't have the trailer or all the info yet. They said that's going to come out on Tuesday, but we do have a TWAB with pictures of the armor. We know a little bit. We know about there's a sniper that's coming out with it. And then we know other mid-season weapons changes and some fun stuff about material changes for next season.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So, twab.
Hoarders beware.
This TWA brought to you by the Guardian Hub podcast. Subscribe now and save your free 99.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Is that our ad?
No. No.
No? No ads?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I guess we'll do no ads. Des, what's good in this TWAB, sir?
A bunch of interesting things in this twab, actually. Some good news, some news, and more news. Anyway, first bit of news. They're actually changing. The TWAB actually had, I read this TWAB, yay! But anyway, they had this marvelous explanation of trying to simplify things for new and returning players. So we are no longer going to be capable of earning or obtaining destination materials.
Oh, no. I'm so sad. Said at least one person I know.
Right? But no, Dusklight shards, data lattice, helium filaments, barium bows, spin metal leaves, glacial starwards will no longer be available. They will no longer be able to be bought off of Rahul. But they are not doing the normal full depreciation of everything, because they're not taking them like completely out of our inventory either. What they're doing is they're going to leave us the capability of selling these materials for Glimmer. Just not as much, because I think it's going to take like a 20 stack now for 5K Glimmer, which is definitely like not as good as it was. But again, if you have absolute hundreds or thousands of planetary material in your inventory, you can still hang on to it and use it as emergency Glimmer stash. But
Or
that's
you can
all.
turn it in now, I guess, if you're not full on Glimmer, right?
Exactly. Yeah, if you don't have that much planetary materials and you're low on Glimmer, just go ahead and turn it in now for the deal, because yeah, the exchange difference is definitely it's definitely noticeable, because it isn't like 10 material for like, or like a 10 stack for like 10K or something like that. I don't know. Either way.
Should look it up then.
So everything that took destination materials, like exotics and stuff, are going to have modified exchange costs. It's going to cost like probably, I think they mentioned like a few more legendary shards for most things. Mods, and I think like upgrade modules. Or upgrade modules. Okay, so they didn't mention mods, but upgrade modules will just have their destination material requirement removed outright, and they otherwise will not be adjusted. So actually, upgrade modules are going to be cheaper to get, essentially, because you don't need an absolute buttload of destination materials for them, or you won't need, starting in season 19.
Okay,
So that
excellent.
that is like fantastical news.
That's all I use my planetary material on is upgrade modules. So
Yeah.
no.
That's only
no
because
loss
you had
there.
to, also, right? I mean, if they removed that cost, you wouldn't cry about it, right?
Right,
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
I mean, which kind of brings to the point. I don't know if you're going to get at or if you mentioned, but why are they getting rid of this? Do you think?
I mentioned it a little bit, but they're trying to take away some currencies, so that way, I mean, the entire philosophy is taking away like minor currencies, so that way you can spend more attention focusing on currencies that matter more, essentially.
Yeah.
So
to,
you
like,
know, you
simplify
can
too, right?
exactly simplify things. It's going to simplify your inventory. It's going to be easier to find things. You can store more junk in your inventory if you so feel like it.
Or in your trunk.
Exactly. But yeah, so they're just looking to simplify things, and they basically didn't see the need for planetary materials anymore. They saw it as an unnecessary step, so they're going to be gone. And they also mentioned, though, that because planetary materials are going to be gone, like a lot of people did use it as basically Glimmer supply. So how are they going to, like, give us more Glimmer?
Oh no.
Good news, right? Which, I mean, that can be a legitimate thing, like at the start of a season. Like, if you finally run out of planetary materials and, you know, you find yourself at a Glimmer loss, that could be a pain to, like, grind out. But they are modifying a, I guess, little used thing, and they're making it a little more relevant. Public events are going to give a holy butt ton of Glimmer, and I'm not even kidding. I don't think the numbers are in this recap directly, but I do know normal public events are going to give like 3,000 to 5,000 Glimmer for completion, and like heroic public events are 10 to 13,000 Glimmer per completion, which is nuts. I mean, what if you actually have the time to grind it? 20 or like 15-ish public events, heroic public events, and you have like full Glimmer practically. I have not done the math on that, so somebody can correct me.
Well,
oh wait, no,
when
it
it
says
used to
right
be
here.
150, now it's 250 cap.
Yeah. So yeah, normal is going to be between 3,300 and 4,645 Glimmer, and then heroics are 10k and 12.5k Glimmer, and these are base amounts. They are not taking into consideration anything that modifies your Glimmer gains. That's just base amount. So yeah, holy crap! And I believe they're going to be modifying. They're going to be taking away certain ghost mods that have to deal with material, and they're changing one of them to do a different thing that I can't remember and can't see. But anyway, they're also modifying Devrim and Failsafe, the two oldest vendors we have. They are getting rid of the vendor rank and sunset weapons in their inventory because they found it confusing that, maybe a new player would go and buy a weapon but wouldn't be capable of upgrading it at all. So they're getting rid of that. The armor that they sell will no longer require ranks. The rank exclusive ghost shells and emblems will be available for 10 legendary shards each, and they will give 4 daily bounties.
Whoa, let's not get too crazy now.
Yeah, they did mention they currently can't or don't have repeatable bounties planned, or else they would essentially be up to parity with other modern planetary vendors now. But yeah, they're bringing them up a bit. They're taking away stuff, they're giving you stuff, and they're giving like easy stuff. And they do mention in the TWAB that basically Savathun's Throne World is kind of like the prototype, I guess, going forward, because they left nodes in Savathun's Throne World, but it just gave direct reputation and stuff rather than a material. And they also note that they're not taking away the planetary material nodes on the map. It's just they're just going to give straight Glimmer now, or in Season 19, which could be that one modified ghost mod might give you more Glimmer for that. So that is destination materials and vendors. So that is fantastical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, simplifying them. I believe we've said like numerous times, like, well, actually, I do know because there was that joke. We heard you like currency, so we're going to give you currency with your currency. But yeah, so any simplification of stuff is just fantastic and makes it far easier to explain to newer people.
Yep.
So yeah.
And it was always kind of pointless seeing and I had tons, anyone who's played the game for a long time, even if you don't go on farming circuits, every time I would buy a upgrade module, it's like, oh, today's one's going to take away, I don't know, 20 Dusklight shards. I'm like, okay, don't care.
Right.
So I'm fine with them taking that part away.
Right. I personally would actually like alternate between the two upgrade modules just to like even out whatever planetary materials they like required. Like if I had more of one, I would take from that one until they were even, and then actually alternate between buying the two. Yes,
Yeah.
I would do that. So I mean, yeah, that's just absolutely fantastic, and it's making upgrade modules like far more accessible because I mean, all you're gonna need is the
Yep.
legendary shards and the glimmer then, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think they said too. I might have to pull up the TWAB. You said like the resource nodes would give Glimmer, but I thought they said they would also potentially give legendary shards.
That's probably that could be a thing as well.
Yeah. What I'm happy about is it's nice that we're focusing more on legendary shards.
Yeah, for sure.
And this has been kind of a conversation we've had in the communities, and legendary shards are never an issue for me because I actually dismantle a lot of stuff like a good guardian. But even if you didn't, you could farm legendary shards pretty easily through these areas now.
Actually, hilariously, not that long ago, Data released a guide on how to farm everything. So I
Yeah.
haven't watched it yet, but he like literally covers a lot. Like the thumbnail apparently covers legendary shards even. So
Mhm.
that's actually a
Definitely don't
really
need those.
yeah. I mean, that's actually a really good guide for just people in general. Because there's definitely people that are playing the game that don't know where legendary shards come from. Not gonna name any
Yeah.
names or anything, but you know
Mhm.
who you are. Anyway, so a bit of good news, other than of course the awesome anime photo of the Gundam armor for Festival of Lost. There we go. For some reason, almost forgot the name of that. Let's see. They did give us, or are giving us, the breakdown. See what it did there of the mid-season balancing upcoming, and I say that because our presenter was Mercules.
So it was massive.
Was massive. It is actually pretty girthy, to be honest. For a mid-season balance, this actually seems, yeah, hefty. But they're doing a lot of good things. And of course, Mercules does a fantastic job explaining balancing choices and why they didn't do a specific thing or why they're, it's a fantastic read. Just in general, just to get like the design philosophy and such, which I'm kind of a nerd for. So anyway, so mid-season balancing changes that are coming next week, FYI. Auto rifles, they are going to be increasing because they mentioned auto rifles are kind of lagging, sort of, at least in like in-game like PvP. They account for like a lot of normal PvP, I believe. But they do want to make them a little easier to use without really touching like damage numbers right now, because as they explain, like any wrong move can make them a little oppressive. But they are going to increase like their ease of use. So they're going to be increasing the stability effects on auto rifles, and they are going to be slightly bumping up precision frame crit damage, and I do mean slightly. Like any damage up that they're doing is like, or even damage down for that matter, a lot of this is slightly. So it's not really going to change like TTKs or anything, but it does just make them easier and more user-friendly, which is always nice. Bows. They're going to be slower to stow and ready because that's apparently a problem in like higher tiered PvP. So that's a thing. Pulse rifles. They are modifying like the handling effects. I believe they're making them kind of better, but they're kind of balancing both the low and the high end. So making it, I think, more rewarding for higher handlings. Adaptive frames are getting slight crit bumps. They are actually decreasing like the damage fall off scale because they do want pulse rifles to operate within a very specific range. And Peace of Mind is getting its zoom lowered because it had an outstanding zoom value, and things with outstanding zoom values can operate in ranges they're not quite intended to operate within. So there's that. High impact scout rifles are receiving like a slight nerf to damage, but I think the way they explain, well, they're taking back certain damage to where high impact scouts will need 3 headshots again, because I think they found it was a little easy to use. So they're fixing that. Sidearms are going to have their aim assist fall off be better, because apparently there was a weirdness in sidearm aim assist fall off and the actual damage fall off, so they're kind of meeting them from what I understood on that. Submachine guns, they're actually lowering some damage fall off. They're trying to also distinguish between lightweight and precision frames on how they perform, so they're decreasing some lightweight frame damage, they're increasing some precision frame damage. But speaking of precision frame, there's of course a couple of outliers that are operating within ranges that rival auto rifles. Looking at you, Shiera's Wrath and Friction Fire. And that's, again, because of their zoom value, and they're taking them down to a normalized zoom value for their type. So that is fantastic. Precision frame fusion rifles, they found are a little oppressive, I think. And a little too easy to use. So they're actually taking down the intrinsic recoil perk effect of precision frames only for fusion rifles. So they're going to be a little more difficult to use. Glaives, they feel, are pretty strong with shield energy, so they're reducing some of the effectiveness of the damage resistance only in PvP.
Only in PvP. Yeah, that's right.
Only in PvP. They're still going to be strong in PvE. Snipers, again, I feel like they're really trying to narrow down this whole sniper mentality that's in Destiny, where even if you're getting shot at, you still take the shot, and chances are you're still going to hit it. That's right, we've all felt it. They've narrowed that down now to essentially, because they have increased the flinch in PvP, but what it is apparently what they call settle time, which is essentially your reticule resettling to center after the flinch, is a little too good still, so people are capable of shooting through the flinch and still landing the shot. So they're actually going to be increasing this settle time, so that way, effectively, if you're sniping, it's going to have to be like a hard choice, or you're not really incentivized to shoot through flinch anymore. But the good news is PvE flinch is being reduced. So sniper rifles will become easier to use in PvE, and it will be harder to shoot through flinch in PvP. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There we go. All right. Trace rifles, they noticed that they're not being used that much. So again, they're increasing the ease of use for trace rifles, and they are increasing the stability stat effects also for trace rifles. So that way it'll be easier to consecutively hit criticals, which of course just makes them easier to use. Henceforth, ease of use. Yay! Rocket launchers aren't used apparently a lot in PvP. So they are increasing the blast radius by like 0.4 meters, I think, to get specific. I don't really see how that's going to help, but
yeah, right.
Hey, I'm not the designer here. Anyway, What could be a big controversial thing? Rangefinder. It's super strong. Like, legitimately, it's really strong. Not only does it increase your zoom factor, which increases your range way better than like the range stat, because I think you'd have to get like 20 to 30 range stat to give you the same effective range effects as the rangefinder perk, just because it increases your zoom. It's nuts. But they're not taking that away. It's still going to increase the zoom. So you're still going to get like a lot of range out of whatever you're using it on. But what they aren't, or what they're taking away, is the aim assist fall off buff. Because essentially it would also make the aim assist stickier at longer ranges, or stay sticky at longer ranges. They're taking that away to hopefully, like they say, it's still going to be strong. It's just not going to be an exact go-to, and they're trying to make it to where other things might compete if they take away that, which I kind of agree with, and I think might be a thing. But I can also see this being kind of controversial because, I mean, rangefinder is just like one of the best perks you can ever get on a gun ever for PvP. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
It's like really good. So, Jade Rabbit. It's strong. It's been an outlier forever. I love in the TWAB I love in this TWAB they mentioned that it practically has unlimited range, which is true. So they're dropping the aim assist on it by at least a significant margin to make it hopefully not so easy to use. So, Lord of Wolves. This is part of like an overall part of like the rework that they've mentioned was coming with Lord of Wolves. What they were trying to do is they gave what's it called? The exotic perk whenever it's active. I forget now, but anyway, whenever that exotic perk of Lord of Wolves is active, they gave it an ADS accuracy penalty. So that way it wouldn't be so good to use against.
Release the wolves? I don't remember.
Yes, that's it. Release the wolves. But yeah, they wanted to give it an aim penalty, basically like a huge spread. So it wouldn't be effective against small targets, which includes Guardians in PvP, but also smaller adds in PvE. But they were hoping that it would still be good against larger targets in PvE. But they found that this penalty isn't that great, and it could still like miss shots. So they're reducing some of that accuracy penalty. So that way you can hopefully hit like more consistent crits without having to get too close to a very large enemy. So hopefully that will help out. I think they're taking away some things, and it's okay. They're just trying to balance around the fact that they're trying to make it good in PvE, but not oppressive in PvP. Like it has been. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, and like that one I did not fully pay attention to when I read it. So yay. Anyhow, No Time to Explain also been pretty strong, but apparently I think this is the one where No Time to Explain actually sees higher use with mouse and keyboard than it does on controller. And this stat is very interesting to see broken down because they actually can, apparently. So they do mention that it's a little easy to use on mouse and keyboard because of like, the slight like stability and such differences. It's a little easier to fire on mouse and keyboard. So they do feel No Time to Explain is strong, able to very consistently two burst on mouse and keyboard, but they don't want to ruin it for controller players. So they're effectively knocking down the recoil direction from 90 to like 70 or so, and it's going to end in a weird number. So it's going to have some kick to it, but they're hopefully it won't be like an uncontrollable kick. It's just that you will have to control it, including on mouse and keyboard. And they're of course dropping some of the aim assist to get rid of some of that ease of use on it. And Risk Runner is a popular choice for niche applications. And they're getting rid of some of the PvP damage resistance that Risk Runner gives you. And that's pretty much all they're changing on Risk Runner, which is quite nice. And that's what's coming next week.
Yeah. Is that a cat I hear?
Yes, that would be Peanut, who meows at absolutely
Hello,
everything.
Peanut. Hello, Peanut. Peanut approves of the TWAB.
Apparently.
Yeah, any you're super excited about? I'm kind of looking to the auto rifles and stuff, but
yeah, auto rifles, like making them just slightly easier to use is going to make them really, like, not really strong, but it's going to make them usable.
Yeah,
like for sure. And yeah, I do like the fact that they're definitely like designing around ranges. Essentially, they want specific weapons to function within specific effective ranges, and they're really like, that seems to be what they're really hammering in the head on this, because it's like taking away the aim assist fall off on rangefinder. Is they wanted to find a way to make rangefinder not so good, but they didn't want to power creep it. So they took away the aim assist, which, like I said, they felt like is the better option to make it a good perk without making it an absolutely necessary perk in PvP, which I think I agree with. Yeah, a lot of this I do agree with. I mean, and like I said, it's really nice to see like the reasoning behind these changes, and like I said, the reinforcement of effective ranges, which I love, and it's fantastic.
yeah. Sin, anything for you? Are you going to be using sidearms more with the extra aim assist fall off?
No.
No. All right. You can
No.
I mean, the Volt Shot crafted sidearm is a lot of fun in PvE.
That would require me crafting the weapon, but I do have a
Or
Volt Shot
getting-
Brigands.
Or getting it RNG. You don't have to craft it. You can get an RNG drop of the good rolls. Remember, everyone. Yeah, and Hammer Crasher writes, it sucks to play against no time to explain when the person is mouse and keyboard. So I guess he has noticed that some. I haven't because I just don't PvP much, but I have heard about people using no time to explain a lot.
Like
it definitely
people,
shows up.
Yeah, like people with good aim, or I guess mouse and keyboard, you can definitely tell. Like, you can tell quickly why they use no time to explain, because even not playing like against controller or mouse and keyboard players, because I'm still a console pleb, or was. Oh, well, still once I get back, but but still, you can tell like the people you don't need to mess with that use that gun, because 2 like rounds of flinch and you're dead, and it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's nuts, and it can be nuts, and yeah, it will probably still be nuts for people that are good, because that's the thing. These changes will make it slightly more difficult to use, but the people that are already good with it are still going to be good with it. They're just going to have to slightly adjust. Slightly. Reminds me of that when they took away some of the stability bonuses and such for using mouse and keyboard. People were freaking out about it, but it turned out to not be that bad. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. Hammer Crasher's a little concerned about that, that nerf, but again, we'll see how it works.
Yeah, you'll definitely need to control it, and that's about it. I mean, also to be honest, it might actually bring up Vigilant Swing use as well, because that's kind of the only bad thing about Vigilant Swing is it had like kind of a massive kick because it's a 5-round burst. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there, because V-Wing didn't get touched. But some future things that are going to get touched, giggity, they do make very special note to mention that special ammo.
Sin is a pleb. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
True, but special ammo linear fusion rifles, aka Lawrence and Arbalest Nightmares, are going to get touched. They are going to have auto aim reduction and flinch tuning. So, yeah, there's that. Machine guns. They are looking for a way to make them viable, as well as not having a penalty for using them for ad clear. So they're working on that still, and apparently taking away Dead Man's Tail damage penalty. I just don't remember exactly what they did to Dead Man's Tail, but I know they kind of hit it a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, they're going to be making that a little better again. That's fantastic.
Yeah. A lot of good info, and I am excited for the mid-season update. I hope these are all great, along with Season of the Lost. So do we assume that, they'll probably keep the same idea for Season of the Lost with the Lost Sector grinding, but hopefully it'll be a couple different ones as opposed to last year?
I don't know, because with the changes that they did make to whatever crap the last seasonal event was, that for some reason I can't think of. Solstice? Yeah, Solstice. They actually did some pretty good changes on that. Even though they weren't like massive changes, they still felt pretty good. So I'm kind of hoping for something like that, but also at the same time, not going to really, expect a lot out of it. So
Yeah. I think because they're smaller, in effect, it could be something that they could potentially change up a little bit year after year, as opposed to like a whole huge, it's like they're not making the new EDZ yet or the new Haunted Forest. But I liked the Lost Sector idea. It would just be nice if they were slightly different this year.
And also, Hammer Crash does, make mention that nerfing Rangefinder does hurt the less skilled folks in PvP. To be honest, if you're really missing the aim assist boost, I mean, there is the target acquisition mod. Crap, what's that called? Dang it, I'm forgetting everything.
There is a target acquisition mod.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not probably going to be, exact parity of what Rangefinder gave you, but it does add like 5 aim assist. So I mean, there is that as a boost, because that's all they're taking off of Rangefinder is, in fact, basically extra aim assist. So I mean, yeah, targeting. Oh, targeting adjuster. Thank you.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, there is that to help close that gap. But then again, that does also kind of fall in line with a lot of like the stability changes and like handling changes. They're making them better like on the higher end than they're improving on like the lower end. Because again, they're still like with that mentality that they introduced. God, I can't even remember how long ago, but they basically want you to build craft for stuff. They want you to like dedicate builds to what you want to do with a weapon. And this kind of actually falls in line with that mentality as well. So they're taking off the really good aspect of Rangefinder with the extra aim assist, or at least the really good ease of use increase for Rangefinder. You still get like a ridiculous amount of range for just a half a times more zoom, which is still nutty. But yeah, this seems like to get some of that lost stuff, you have to dedicate a mod to it essentially. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out for sure.
Yeah, right on. Right on. Live updates, Sin. What are you doing right now?
Trying to plunder some umbral energy.
Not some booty.
Plunder that booty.
Some umbral energy. Do you have the upgrade yet where you can actually get random drops of it in any activity, not just the one activity? What's it called?
Expedition.
Expedition, yeah. It's well worth the upgrade.
Thought I did, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, and they don't drop super often, but it is nice to get the drops occasionally. When I was even been raiding the last couple of days, I would occasionally notice a little bit of a drop, at the end of an encounter.
Like the raid the other night.
Yeah, for sure. What weapons are you wanting to craft, either in the raid or seasonal, that you haven't crafted yet, Sin?
Really, just don't want to get the seasonal weapons done just for the weekly triumph stuff. 'Cause
Okay, so you don't have to get them all done. It says to do 3. So do you have ones
I have
that you would prefer?
0.
I don't
No, not
care
really.
what you have. I just want to know if you're excited about any.
I will definitely do the sidearm for the volt shot portion.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
probably about all I really care about.
Do the tarnished metal also. Do the that's a good one too with bolt shot. And Sin, like I always say, it's really good in the daughters encounter. That way you can have a primary ammo weapon and get those snipers very easily.
True. That's one thing I don't use. I use SMGs typically in those and have a difficult time with the range aspect because I hang on to my heavy for the DPS phases.
Yeah. Okay, but so the sidearm the most. Yeah, there's the sidearm, the scout, the SMG, the shotgun, linear fusion, and the machine gun. I think I might do the machine gun as my 3. Of course, the tarnished metal, scout, and the sidearm.
Yeah, I just got to unlock my first one.
Yep. And also be aware that the first Catch Crash Master per week will drop a red border weapon. So be sure to get at least one of those a week, even if you just get an LFG group.
All right, let's do one right after this.
I mean, I'm down. And yeah, anyone listening live. And of course, once you get the 1 upgrade too, which I think they were even saying they changed something about it, or they're offering it for free now. But the first the first weapon you buy at the vendor per week now, kind of like how they did this with previous seasons, the first one will give you a red border of it. So you can start stacking them up if you do, at least 1 per week from that, 1 from Catch Crash, although the Catch Crash one's more random. The one at the vendor, you can pick which one you want. And then there's other ways to get the drops too.
Yeah, I've just been trying to play a little bit of everything and catch up. I finally got the Catalyst unlocked for Delicate Tomb, which actually did not go. I really needed the kills to unlock it. I had already completed my playlist activity portion, and I got a few kills in PvP with it, and it actually went up fairly quick. It didn't take long at all. I was at 33% and got to 100 pretty darn quick. So now I'm just mindlessly shooting things with it to try to actually complete it. And then after that, I will just need my Forerunner catalysts.
Oh, and one other piece of information we were noticing, the Daughters Challenge is going to be one of these ones that aren't necessarily guaranteed to get, but pretty easy to get just doing it the normal way. Right? We were getting it just running on normal mode. And we were a little worried it was more complicated than we thought, but really all it is once you step on a platform, you cannot get off it. Or if you do, you cannot get back on it, or the challenge will fail. Someone else will have to get on it. So if you're fine, if you don't accidentally get off the platform, then it's completed.
Yeah, we actually got it done just by chance in the not LFG, the Sherpa group earlier.
Yeah. So not a bad way when that's the rotating weekly challenge to get an extra chest there. And isn't it funny? And I think we've mentioned this before, but getting the red border weapons in the raid are almost easier than getting them in the seasonal activity ways, because if you can run the raid at least, but once you do, you have the extra chest, which is, it's getting a little more reliable, but let's just say you have that. So that's a guaranteed red border. And then once per week, you also get one that you can pick red border, from buying for only 20 spoils of a weapon that you've already earned. And then that also, even just the random chance of getting a red border drop isn't too bad in the raid. It's not like it's dropping all the time, but I don't know, maybe just because I raid more, but I feel like they're dropping more often. I remember Rodimus mentioning that too. Like he's had some pretty good luck seeing red border drops in the raid versus the seasonal way.
Yeah, it feels like the raid's a little bit easier. And I was just looking at my tracker. I've run 31 raids. Not all of them lootable. But, when you consider that you can get a possible red border drop from any of the chests, including the extra chests, you have that many chances, especially if you're running it on multiple characters, which I had been for the simple fact of trying to get Touch of Malice, which still eludes me.
And then
I have
another
a few of them
guaranteed
unlocked.
2 per week if you do the
Yeah.
other stuff. Yep. Yeah, right on. All right. Des, doing any? I wanted to save this for the end this time. Doing any other fun games or shows that you're watching?
I'm playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh still. A lot.
Nice. I
A
mean,
lot.
hey, if it's working, you're having fun, then why not, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, most of the time anyway. Except for when random chance screws over a hand.
Uh-oh.
But card game stuff. No, it's no big deal. No, legitimate. Yeah, Laz gave me some crap for missing a friggin' Yu-Gi-Oh reference with Nezarek and Exodia. Screw you, Laz. Anyway, no. But no, yeah, just yeah, playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. Like going through that stuff, all that jazz. We had like a meta shift a month ago because of new cards, and yeah, landscape like entirely changed, and yeah, fun stuff. Anyway, just finished the She-Hulk show earlier tonight, so
Oh,
that was interesting.
I heard somebody mentioned in Discord that something about that ending.
Yep, it's an ending.
yeah. Okay.
The ending is fairly true to the character, but I think in staying fairly true to the character, they almost kind of the ending didn't hit it for me. Which has got to be like the first Netflix show where the ending just didn't hit it for me. But it, like I said, it is weird because they stayed true to the character. It's just, yeah, I don't know. But all in all, it's still like a really good series. I just love the fact that we still have like a lot of these either lesser known or rarely focused upon, heroes and stuff getting these Netflix series and like, or not Netflix, Jesus, Disney Plus series. Sorry, just the fact that Daredevil's coming back. So, but no, yeah. So yeah, having them like have impact just in the universe itself, because I mean, if you watch Multiverse of Madness, you're caught up to a bunch of things that get referenced in, or you're better prepared if you had watched WandaVision by watching Multiverse of Madness. Like, just a lot of subplot that might leave you going, "What?" But you could be aware of otherwise. I mean, it's just really cool and like really integrated. So. Just can't wait to see what happens next with a bunch of this.
Nice.
Yeah. I think otherwise that's. Did I mention I play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Lot
Just
of
making
Yu-Gi-Oh.
sure. Getting that point across. A lot of card games.
I just watched. I've been rewatching South Park, and then they had the episode where it wasn't Pokemon, but they were making fun of like a different name for Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Yeah, Chipokemon. And they were trying to. The Japanese were trying to like get the kids to take over. And then the way to solve it was the parents had to pretend to act excited that they wanted to do that too. And then the kids are like, "Oh no, this is lame." If the parents like it,
Right.
so then they stopped.
I remember watching that.
I got my Chipokemon. Yeah, you gotta get them all, and you don't have the Chipokemon video game controller that can plug in to play the Chipokemon video game. You're lame, man.
And it's funny because all of that was true.
And why do you got to collect all the cards? Well, duh, you got to collect them all to stop the evil influence or whatever. They're like, and what's the evil influence? Well, duh, we don't find out until we collect them all. Then we'll know. It's good.
Oh yeah, fun times.
Yep. And always shout out to Drafty in the chat. He says he likes to try to derail the show. I mean, I don't know what you're expecting. Are we going to totally stop the show? But no, we do appreciate your comments as always, Drafty. Love having your little comments in the show.
It is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Come back every week and make those comments because it gives me a smile on my face as I'm recording.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. And check them out for those of you listening to the show not live. We have different threads in our podcast live chat, questions for the show channel. You'll see it in each episode listed. And right now we're on episode 183. And Drafty even has a picture he posted about Halloween decorations. So check it out.
Some might call that a flesh wound.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What else, Des?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't have anything else. But yeah, Sin or Des, if you have anything else,
I mean, I can get into a lot. I've already threatened Discord by going into Yu-Gi-Oh lore, which is a thing now. Which I actually found really interesting. Just to very briefly speak on it, because it's always been a thing. At least in the past, people have tried to connect certain card arts that are connected monsters and see if there's a story to be told through card art. But that's actually legitimately a thing in modern Yu-Gi-Ohs. They release specific archetypes and for specific series of cards, and the art will actually tell a story. So it's just super fantastic, and I'm definitely I'm about it. I'm the lore guy for Destiny, as I'm becoming known as. And yeah, I'm biting hook, line, and sinker into story through card art, which, trust me, is far more vague and interpretive. But yeah, still fun though.
Yeah. Well, right on. Well, come to our Discord to talk about that, to talk about Destiny or whatever. Just come to our Discord, say hi. You can lurk for the most part or continue in on conversations. Tag Sin throughout the day, debug him. I give you permission.
Really?
Create a bunch of DM channels with him in it. He doesn't like that.
I leave them.
Yep. He leaves them, and then we talk about him behind his back when other people are still in the DM.
And you can lurk one of them.
No, we actually do sometimes.
Seriously.
Nothing bad.
Jay, you can lurk one of our current audience members, which I'm only calling you out, so I apologize because there's a lot going on. It's Super Saiyan Sora, and his profile picture is of Luffy. That's a whole lot to unpack in just simply a Discord name. But thank you for listening. And I swear I won't call you out ever again. You can lurk. It's fine. I just had to point that. I've been dying to point that out because it's Super Saiyan, Dragon Ball, Sora, Kingdom Hearts, Luffy, One Piece. Wait, what? Anyway, sorry.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll close up for this week. But before we do, we want people to know how to find Sin, to bug him, to tag him in the Discord, all the above. Sin, where can people get hold of you?
They can find me currently deleting some additional sunset weapons out of my vault, or on Twitter at Sin_media. And of course, over here in the Discord, Super Saiyan Des. Take us out, or do your thing. Don't take us out.
You can take us out.
I'm usually after Des.
I know. I'm mixing it up.
You're right. You can tell when we fall into the rut.
I know. Should I
But-
never mix it up, or should?
See, Drafty, we can derail ourselves. But no, you can find me on Twitter at @ds_Raven. You can find me there. You just might not be able to reach me there. Haven't checked in a while. But you can also find me in the Discord. You can ask me lore stuff. I love talking about lore stuff. Feel like we've had a lot of conversation the past few days about like lore stuff, and that is, I love it. So yeah, you can like easily get in touch with me with a lore channel, whether you like it or not. So yeah, that's the thing. So Kingsley,
Yes. Whether we wanted it or not, you can
Kingsley?
find.
What's your meta, Mac? Take
Is
it
that
out.
Mac?
What's your meta?
Talk about Mac and Meta. Oh well, thanks for mentioning
Reminding
that. Yeah, I was recently on a Potato Thumbs podcast sub episode called "What's Your Meta," and it was their first PVE focused one, and they were so gracious to invite me on to talk mostly about what I main, Warlock Solar, and a little bit about our Raid Sherpa system that we have going on. So check that out over at Potato Thumbs. They are part of our Owl Sector Alliance, along with Guardian Downcast, Two Titans and a Hunter, all podcasts that we love so much. So definitely check them out. But other than that, you can just find me all the places, everywhere as Kingsley Mac, Twitter, Twitch, Discord, blah, blah, blah. And you can find our show on Twitter as The Guardian Hub, or our lovely website where you can find all our links, theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net.
Yes, thank you, Sin. It is a good hub. And thank you, Des, for all
And
your
thank you, Kingsley.
information. Thank you, Kingsley. Thank you. You're welcome. Whatever. And we will catch you all again next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
later.